Good evening, good evening. How we doing? Have we got sound or? Yes, we have. Good. Wonderful. I was playing around with stuff. I wasn't quite sure if I'd balked things. It seems I have not. How are we doing? Happy random Saturday. Somewhat random Saturday stream. Most of my Saturday streams are random when they... Ow. Just poke myself in the eye. Okay. But I thought... as we missed a bunch of streams this week for a number of reasons, we'll do a bit of a catch-up today and also, you know, check out the new building system, which is on the PTS, because I need to really dive into it before I can make a proper video on it. So I thought we might as well do that together. So yes, here's your somewhat formal warning. We're going to jump into the PTS. This is unreleased, etc, etc, etc. If you don't want to see it before it comes out, you are forewarned. It's not the story content, so, you know, it's not like a spoilers. Spoiler, we're getting a new building system. Well, it's getting overhauled anyway. Had a quick look at it so I could get the thumbnail. First impressions are pretty solid. First impressions are decent. Not perfect, but decent. Mind you, if you wait for perfect, you're going to be here a very long time. Anyway, I can see again, so shall we rock and then possibly even roll? How's everyone doing? Evening Southwest, welcome on in. First in. Evening Monkey Nuts, how's it going? Evening Feline. So, I don't know quite how this is going to go, because I'm sure I have done a PTS stream in the dim distant reaches of the past, but it's not been recent, so we'll see whether or not OBS behaves. It usually does. Let's have a gander at that. That's interesting. Yeah. Right, sorry. My mild tennis obsession taking over a minute there. I'm going to have to take the socks off because I'm too blooming warm. It's quite hot today, or at least it's quite hot this evening in here. The sun swings around onto the window in the late afternoon, so it's been kind of nice all day, but this evening it's gotten a bit of wham. Right. Let's see how this works, shall we? Should, he says, work as usual. Hey, it did. Until it crashed. No, it's just being weird. That's alright, I don't think it's crashed. Just being weird, okay. Now, I think we're on the BTS here. I don't think I clicked the wrong one. He says. Find out. Yeah, it's definitely better organised than it was. Mind you, the building system we had before, there was about 1,000 things. No, way less than that, actually. A few hundred things, maybe, in it when the game launched. Assuming you had absolutely every plan that was available at the time. And obviously that was 6.5 years ago, nearly 7 years ago now. So it's gotten a bit unwieldy since then. So, yes, good. I'm on the PTS. That's all good. You got some kind of weird controller nonsense going on there, Feline. Is that what's occurring? I'm sure you could change that setting. Yeah, it doesn't sound familiar to me. Either I'm very used to it, or the fact I'm on mouse and keyboard doesn't kind of gets me around that. I don't know. Yeah, I've always played 76 on mouse and keyboard though, so. Yeah, I wouldn't be so sure about that. Well, maybe. Right. So, my camp load in. Not much point in doing anything other than the building, really, is there? Oh, yeah, I changed the weather machine over because I wanted better lighting for the thumbnail. So, still the same button to open it, but it looks quite different now. If I go to, for example, you have to keep an eye on the instructions across the bottom as well, because the buttons are different. So, like, there's arrows to navigate, like those individually, at least on mouse and keyboard. But then you've got, where is it? Z and C to jump between entire headings. Is a whole thing. It's way better organised. And as I said multiple times over the last year and a bit, and to John Rush when he told me they were working on this, I don't envy the poor sod who had to organise it all. Because I don't think that would have been a lot of fun. Anyway, I want utility services, I think. Yeah. I think this menu is a little bit big on the left with all the icons, but I don't know that smaller would be better either. So, yeah. Also, it's X to get into the, instead of tab to get into the edit mode now, and I'm not a big fan of that. It's going to take me a minute to change, wrap my head around. So, that can store. Some of the tabs are not yet available and stuff, because I haven't got the full implementation of this in the game yet, so there is that. I then want... Now, I do like that one, but it's not the one I want. I want one of the rainy ones, don't I? Light rain one, huh? PTS, but it won't last. That's the one that I did have, the thunderstorm one. Back in there. That's not quite right, is it? It's trying to break the front of my camp, I can hear it. There we are, that's better. That's still the same. Turn that off. I'm going to find which pestilential individual who thinks the front of my camp is his scratching post. The sound of it. Hey, crickets. Yeah, I thought so. I'm not going to look at the new perks and stuff, or perk changes today, because I can't be asked, to be honest. And fortunately, they don't affect my builds, so there's that at least. So, question is, what are we going to build today? Yeah, it's the button changes that I'm going to have to learn. Where stuff is in the menu, I don't think it's going to be too bad. Because it's pretty self-explanatory. You want to find an object, just pick something out of thin air. Let's go with the typewriter, if it's in here, which it may not be. Actually, that may not be a good choice. Let's see if we can find the typewriter if it's in here. But it was a season thing, so it may not be. It'll probably be either furniture or decorations, I think. So let's jump down to furniture first. Appliances. Surfaces? No, that's tables and the like. Okay. Always called surfaces as opposed to tables. Probably because it's got things like... yeah, kitchen counters in it. Thought as much. Electronics, so it's probably... Clutter? Yeah, clutter seems likely. Well, we're halfway there. That makes sense. It's probably in here somewhere, if it's here anyway. What the heck is that? Oh, an ice block. Still quite chunky, these minis. Oh, it's not in there, but... entertainment? Could be. Novelties... Okay, so this one is a little bit hard to find, but it may also not be here just on the count of it being a seasons thing. Maybe a bad example to pick with the PTS, you know. Yeah, it probably was. I can't think of anywhere else to be. Entertainment maybe, but I doubt it. Nah, it's not going to be in there, is it? But the left and right thing can't quite get used to anyway. Anyway, a couple of things I'm deliberating on. Do I build a kind of floaty, stilt-based fishing village, which is one idea I've got in my head, or possibly a tree house? And there was something else that passed through my head, but I can't remember what it was now. What the fuck have I done there? Smashed something? That's worrying. Hang on, I just clipped my monitor and something fell off. I'm going to find out what. That's alright, doesn't matter. It's just a really shit cable organising thing that wasn't getting used anyway. Yeah, my seat's running away from me. My knee hurts. I haven't run into that yet, so we'll see what happens. But it's no worse than having something big green and saying it can be placed, and then you try and place it and it goes, actually, nah, mate. So, yeah, it's certainly no worse than it was, if that's the case. How's it going, Jellyby, alright? Is it in novelties? It's in novelties. You got a funny idea of what novelties are, Bethesda, but then they do have a funny idea of what novelties are, I suppose. But it's this sort of thing that we need to kind of wrap our head around, isn't it? Oh, there it is, novelties. Okay, yeah. I mean, you know, it's in between, whatever the fuck that is, a turnstile. I've seen that before. Tower viewer, a Morse code telegraph thing, and skeleton dissolving in a barrel of acid. It's a weirdly broad term, that. Anyway, so yeah, I'm not sure if we do fishing village, which might be. Oh, that was the other thing I was thinking of maybe doing. Maybe going building on a pylon. I'm thinking treehouse might be a better play in terms of doing something that's a little bit out of left field, you know, a bit weird. Perhaps still village in the mire kind of appeals to me as well, like fishing village type deal. I've kind of done a bunch of stuff like that recently, so I kind of feel like going the other way. I think I might stick with the treehouse idea and see how we go from there. We'll wing it and see what happens. Ooh. Yeah, I was really hoping I was going to load in on the other side of this place, but ifs, didn't it? I'd really been ahead of the game. I'd have planned which camp slot I was going to use and cleaned it out and deleted everything. Would have been a smart move. I did not do that, however. I did pick a location, though.
Need some new clothes. I'm getting really muddy.
Off you.
You just made my day. Opening fire.
How the hell is that a miss? Come on. Be sideways. No, too much shit on that tree. Same problem. Same tree, I think. Which may not be avoidable, unfortunately. It was... Oh, picked the wrong bloody road. There we go. This is the right road. Yeah, that should have been a miss, and it wasn't. Good little spots to take random pictures of down this road. I haven't really got the weather for it right now, but there are a few. Well, how that one survived. Yep. Really lost momentum. Here we go. This is the spot, I think. And it looks like my usual choice of trees are going to have the usual issue. Got hit and it interrupted the animation, but I was still able to do the damage anyway. It's weird when that happens. The other question is whether or not I use this one, which might have less stuff in the way on it. I can bulldoze that to get it out of the way. I think this might be our tree. Got those branches sticking out a bit there. They've not got leaves on them, so there's that. It's the fog's clearing. Well, there's these ones here, which are basically the same, but they do have leaves on them. I think we'll go with the one without leaves, because I think it's going to be a bit easier to deal with. One thing I do suspect that is not a case in this update is that group select is one thing that was in Fallout 4 that I really kind of wish, especially for what I've got in mind here, was still a thing for 76. Or yeah, because it would make this a lot easier. Right. First up, let's pick that one. You give me extra slots on here, are you? Okay, it's fine. So there's 2 more available to me that I didn't know about. Now, logically, let's bang that in. Well, let's. We want north, east, so we're going to be over this way, but that's exactly where I want it then. Because you always spawn in, or we need fast travel, you can fast travel in the northeast corner, facing the direction you were facing when you placed down the camp unit. So if I face this way, I'll be spawning in over here on the northeast corner, facing this direction. If I happen to put it on the other side of the tree and face this way, for example, I'll still spawn in up there, but I'll be facing away from the camp. There's a pro tip for you. No, moving your camp unit does not usually change where your spawn point is. It's pretty much fixed to avoid griefing stuff. Move that out of the way over here. First thing I'm gonna do... have a foundation, you'll do. Yeah, learning the controls is definitely going to take us a quick minute. Pressing X and not Tab to go into the edit mode. Modify mode with its various options, as you can see there. Basically the same options we always had, but organised a little differently. So, you're going to need floors first up. They put things like these bridges, encampment bridges, in the floors, which kind of makes sense when you think about it. Oh, and these became useful in a way they weren't before, in that you couldn't snap walls on them. This will mean you can actually put walls on your floating platforms, floating docks, and build a floating camp in a way that you couldn't really do before with this, which will be nice. Right. Now you can see we've got the placement options down there and on the bottom, just slightly left of centre, on R. So I've got placement snapping, which means it snaps as it always has done. Placement collision means snapping is less required, but collision is still a thing, or should be a thing. Yeah. Though not as much from the look of that. And I can go placement free, in which case I should be able to do this. But it's not visible, allegedly. Okay. So that's still not perfect. It's also mostly bollocks with that. That's an interesting... How do you do? I guess that's what you were talking about, was it? So I'm going to go back to collision. It weirdly wants to jump all the way up there. That's weird. I'm going to go about here, I think. Get about halfway through the tree. I could do it that way so that hopefully pretty central. Alexander, thank you for the sub. Welcome on in. Next thing I'm going to do. That's not working quite the way I was hoping, so we're going to have to try a slightly different cunning plan. I was trying to put Pip-Boy light so I'd see a bit better, but it's not working the way I wanted. So, what I'm going to do is... Curious about how they've organised these now. Flash boxes were always a bit weird. Like, all the Vault-Tec ones should be lumped in together, I think. Could definitely be better organised. Still. But anyway. That'll do for right now. Let's stop that there for a minute. What I actually want to do is grab... What's it called? Mining helmet, isn't it? There we go. Now when I look up at stuff like that, it's actually better illuminated. Useful little thing, mining helmets. They're all over the game. In a variety of colours as well, so... If you haven't got one and you want to try that out... Anyway. This idea is basically solid. Something like that. Right, so next question... there's no recent tab yet, but there will be. Eventually. See, I think I'll go now. Doesn't jump. It doesn't cycle around to the top. I would like it to cycle all the way around. There we go. There's something I'm noticing. Floors. There's all manner of carpeted ones, but I feel like that's probably not the play anyway if I'm going to do a tree house. I'm now kind of questioning my life choices on that. Okay. I go down to the replace option. So the replace thing's not really working right now. Okay, that's fine. Fortunately, go back up to the edit thing, which is, it's not quite as, it doesn't flow quite as well as it used to, I don't think. That might just be because I'm not familiar with it. Will be a reasonable conclusion to draw. So, here's a start. Now, where are we going to go from here? I think... See how the trees or anything, are there? No, okay. So whatever I do is probably got to be a single level, unless I have to lower it down and try and build a double story. No, it's not going to work with 2 stories, is it? So we're going to have to. It is. Probably go. Like this. Should be. I'm on the conventional snapping mode, aren't I? Yeah, it's just a little bit more wild. There we go. That's not too shabby. How's that for space? Yeah. Feel like it's maybe a little off center, but it's close enough. Now then, let's find the Heath ones. But that's not going to work either because... Actually, you know what? Let's try getting a little fruity with this. Because it was willing to kind of snap but ignore some of the collision before. That's what I want. This is actually interesting. A little finicky, but I don't think anybody was expecting anything else. You're in, there we go. How should you do it the other way around? There we are. Interesting. We're having an experience, that's for sure, Steve. I know that much. So far, generally positive. Come on, you little bugger. We put. I mean, temperamental is kind of par for the course. We got a bit of a flickering issue with that. So I like that we can do this. I don't like the flickering. That's a major issue that will need fixing. Yeah, like that. Not a fan of the flickering issue. So, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a quick thing, because that didn't fucking turn on. As usual, my Stream Deck is entirely intermittent in its desire to play ball. I'll grab that clip, because what I can do... is use it for a bug report. So what I'm going to do, just go back to the basic one, because we don't have enough options for fancy floors. Because annoyingly, the half floors don't have all the bloody what do we call it? Like carpets and shit. Never have done, and always should have done, but I've still not got that bit right. Still annoying. Doesn't come up so often for me, but now with this change to the building system, things like that could be even more useful, and then certain gaps like that just become that much more obvious. Next question. is feck. Yeah, that's not going to work, is it? Problem we have everything's going to be the wrong way around. So now, hopefully, he says, should work. Theory. Without looking stupid, I mean. Which is, after all, the goal. Right. So now I'll put the hives on. Theory, I'll put the halves on. Yeah, let's try and be smart about it. Let's see if that makes it easier. It's going to take me a million years to not compulsively press tab. Switch between, well, tabs. No. Okay, so that doesn't look stupid. Sort of. Alright, now then. What I'm going to have to figure out... I did just have a fancy idea, but it's not really going to work like that. So... I'm going to try and do, find some walls. Ooh, that's obnoxious. Decide on one. So these are better organised than they were. Like everything is of the same type is somewhat close together. They're still not quite as intuitive as I feel like they could be. Yeah. Definitely need carpet options. Nah. Probably something made of wood, hasn't it? It's a tree house. The barracks. Never used those before, but they, you know what? That could do the job. Potentially. Any other options that look more appealing? I don't have those in the base game. Just didn't seem like a particularly... interesting. Appealing use of my atoms at the time. Yeah. Bomb. Double bomb. Well, that could work, but I've done that before. Got opportunity to do something I haven't done before, so it kind of springs to mind as a good option, doesn't it? Yeah, we're doing. Yeah, just checking out the new building system. So far, so good. Still needs to be better organised. Like, here's a fine example. So this is the abandoned mine kit. Great. But let's have one subheading for the whole abandoned mine kit, and then have all of this in a subheading together. Because, okay, there's like 6 variations there. That's great. Put the rest of them in with it. And then the whole abandoned mine kit is under one subheading. Nice and easy, simple, tidy, and it won't become as fast a mess when they add more building kits on down the line, which is what's going to happen here. Because as it is... Yeah. What were we going to say? 240 allegedly. And see if they're all on this. Yeah, they're all on this list. That's too long. That needs adjusting. So, let's get a bit of paper and a pen. Start making some notes. Yeah, okay, so the other notes I've got piled up over here. I'll put that in. No, it's not plan, but hey, if it works, then excellent. Yeah, you four notepads falling apart. I'm going to take advantage of that. Is it my sound? There we go. Right. So, what did we have? We had oops. It's labelled right now. Camp pieces, walls. Okay, all right. Okay. Note made. At least I'll be able to give them some hopefully workable feedback. He says, maybe. How's things, chaps? Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm getting at, Steve. So this is not the one I want. Yeah, this is the example I was using. You got the walls in one place, great. But what about the rest of them? All of the rest of this under the same heading as this. Have it all in that menu. One subheading for the abandoned mine kit with all of the pieces in it. That will be fine. That will be just dandy. And then you won't have 240 things to scroll through over it. Anyway, we were going to go for some Brotherhood nonsense, weren't we? Oh. Alrighty then. What are we looking at? We're looking at 3x3 basically, aren't we? So that's fine. Oh, this is going to be a bit more finicky to make it snap where you actually want it to. I see, because yeah, it's not. It doesn't want to do that because I'm now going across the join between things. Yeah, let's do that. I don't like that it's not on tab anymore to switch. Like it's on X to go into edit mode, and I do not like that. Yes, this master plan is slightly more problematic than I was hoping it might be. Okay, I can work with that. Maybe. Is that the right wall? It's this. So we'll take placement to there. But still not quite right. Looks reasonably right. It is. I think. Oh, good lord. Let's see if the snapping's going to actually do what I want it to here, but I don't think it will it? No, I'm going to have to stick with winging it here. I may have effed that entirely anyway. Have slightly. That's alright. I can... That'll snap into the right place in a minute anyway. Maybe a smidge too far over. See. Just actually seeing anything at all. Man. Allow greater flexibility. Sure ain't going to help with speed builds. And it still does that little hop back of it. You only move things a tiny little bit, and that still sucks. Okay, I don't think that's quite where I want it, but I can't do much about it. It's fine. If it's a little higgledy-piggledy, we'll make it work, won't we? Something like that. That's nothing new. Randomly jumping where I don't want it and placing anyway. Right. Still need to give us internal walls and stuff for versions of everything. So how am I going to make this next bit work out? Look on this one. No, that wants to go in the middle here, doesn't it? Should be about right. It's ever so slightly off kilter, which is problematic. Oh, fuck you. Still does that extremely annoying thing. I was expecting any less, of course, but you know. To give you a pretty clear idea why I don't normally stream builds and why I record them and then edit the crap out of them later. Mind you, it normally isn't quite so finicky as this, but nonetheless. Is that in the right place? I think it's close, but it's not quite right, is it? Yay for jetpacks. Well, 3 things just going to drop through it, so that's not very helpful. Hey, snapping actually made that easier. Hey, snapping was good. Let's see if it works again. I'm not going to put any bets on it being... Yeah. Also going to shut up and let it happen if it's going to work. So many inappropriate jokes I could make there, but I'm not going to. Anyway, so cycling through the snapping is actually quite helpful to help it find things and stuff to snap to in slightly unconventional places. So you can use snapping to make things easier by sort of cycling and making it rethink about it, and it will figure stuff out that way. Interesting. So this is probably not going to be the most exciting treehouse in the history of mankind. He says. What can I do to make it a bit more interesting? I'm just Google tree houses and see what comes up, but probably nothing particularly helpful. Hmm. Problem is, it's just going to be a box attached to a tree, and that's kind of a thing I'd like to get around. We could change it up in a lot of ways. Corners and force things together, but we're going to end up with some hideous flickering. Overlap flickering, that was the other thing I wanted on my notes, because that needs to be sorted, and I don't know what the solution is, and I'm sure as shit confident that it ain't going to be an easy fix, but it needs fixing, because if everything you overlap is going to flicker like mad, it basically makes most of what they've done here worthless. Or at least a chunk of it, anyway, in terms of relaxing the building restrictions, anyway. Although I was, from the get-go, unconvinced by relaxing the restrictions anyway, because restrictions breed creativity. They force you to adapt and think and stuff. So there's that. But also, it just doesn't... The game doesn't support it very well. Like, blueprints... They've still got blueprints in them. Oh, and it will still work the way it always did. It fucking won't. It won't work at all. I mean, less restrictions might actually make it easier for the blueprints to work, possibly, but my money, if it was going to go anywhere, would be on blueprinting is going to become completely useless. Because stuff will... the game won't know how to reassemble things. That is my hunch, anyway. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking how to make this not just a box that's up a tree. I'm not quite sure what to do. Make it a much smaller box that's up a tree. Hum. Ho hum. Decisions. This is another reason I always figure things out, try stuff, and then if I get to a point where I'm not happy, like this, there'd be a very good chance that normally I go, you know what? Nah, and just scrap the whole bloody idea and do something different. And now... Was that in the patch notes? because it's still useless information. Oh, Steve, sorry. Either way. Yeah. Unless it's a suggestion, in which case, as to how they could make it work. But that then runs the danger as if you overlap things partially instead of completely, you'll end up with one thing showing in a big hole where the rest of the other thing will be. Like, you have 2 floors overlapping, one floor will be visible and the other one will just disappear at that point, I think. Yeah, I thought that might be where you were going, actually. Because I have looked at the patch notes, I don't remember them that clearly, but... I've read them twice, but apparently that's not enough to memorise. Last piece to be displayed, but yeah, I think that's probably the issue. If they show you the last piece, the first one won't show, and then you end up with a hole where they don't overlap. Right, I'm going to do a quick thing and see if I can wring some inspiration out of a Google image search in the short term. That's not how you spell treehouse. That's how you spell treehouse. No, go away. Any fancy cool ideas? Get a weird fucking shape, is it just that? That's a possibility. That's actually not such a terrible idea. So if I... Yeah, there's an idea. Sometimes you just need to conjure up an image. Which I have now done. So, what I'm thinking... Yeah. Is mix it up a little. It's a bit more promising. So it'd be nice to cut the corners or something like that, but we'll have rampant flickering. And we don't have any fancy, like, shaped roof pieces or something. So if I do that, what we'll end up with is probably a disaster. He says. I got a couple of ideas. Right. Oh, wasn't quite what I wanted to do. Let's go roofs. What kind of roofs do we want? Yeah, I could potentially do that. I'll probably dress it up a bit once I've figured out a general shape. Junk walls would not be a bad idea. Grass roofs? Maybe. That's not a roof, that's a fireplace. Why would that be in roofs? It's a fucking funny looking roof, innit? I mean, I know get that the chimney goes on the roof, but no. Ooh, I don't normally get to use these, but because I never bought them. The bundle was, in my view, not a sufficiently good value proposition. Didn't buy the winding path for that stuff either, because I basically hate that place. I'm gonna go stick with that. Should, he says, more or less work. It hath not quite, because rubber duck, I guess. How's that? That'll do. Oh, that no. With the $1 million questions about to start kicking in. Haha, it more or less works. He says. Right. No. That. No, go there. 3 is actually slightly more problematic. We had a bit of a freak out there. It's going to have to stay as is. Okay, well, we can kind of get around with it a little bit this way, I think. That'll sort of work, won't it? At a glance. Still a little cockeyed, but that we can kind of work with. What I'm thinking now is this is, oh no, let's see, no, okay, so, okay. My brain is not processing these controls very well, or not as well as I was hoping it would. Anyway, we'll get there eventually. It'll click in my head eventually. We're just about in time for it to change again. One of the good things they are going to add, it's not here yet, but they are going to do, is allow you to filter for things. I don't know if that's going to include the ability to search for things, but I've got a hunch, he says. Might be better off. Leave that as is and see if this is going to work. It might not. Or it might, you never know. That's a floor, I want a roof. It's not going to work the way I want it to. Alright, we're going to have to get clever. That's fine. I'm capable of being clever. Unless it's going to work, that's an entirely different question, but I can try it. Right. If I've been sufficiently smart about this, this should just snap into place. At least by the rules of Fallout as they used to be. I think we might be good. Right. Now columns, I don't have anything interesting. Fences are myriad and varied. Corrugated steel fence. Anybody know where those come from? Because I don't have them, I don't think. Or if I do, I don't know where they are in the menu. Being the PTS, they've chucked a whole load of stuff on here that I wouldn't normally have access to. Lovely and all, but I'm going to miss it when I go back to the base game, aren't I? So defensive turrets, traps, barricades, which is cool. I think we just established fences for junk walls. Do I use the pavilion stuff to build a railing around here, or do I do something a bit more improvised? Improvised might look good, or it might look shit. Let's go for improvised. Which means... Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Maybe. Actually, I've got an idea. Let's do both of those things. In a way that won't look shit. I hope. Pray for me. Yeah, I did not quite calculate that, but I don't necessarily... What happened there? Quite what I had in mind either. There we go. Alright. I mean, shit, but I'm not sure it looks perfect either. Didn't go the way I wanted it to, did it? That down a little bit. How's that? Better, but still not quite where I want it. Like it's sticking out in a weird way, but I can't really tell what's going on here. Yeah, I think that's the badger. You remove the modifier tab and make it a blueprint tab. Then you remove the blueprint feature from the game entirely because it doesn't work and it never has. IMO. And it's going to work even less well with this setup. It's always a pointless endeavour anyway, the blueprint tab. Right, I think that's going to work. Fences. What cool fences have we got? A couple of maybes. If there was a long version of that, I'd feel a lot better, but there isn't. What we got down here? Lots of interesting things, but nothing that meets my needs, I don't think. Other than actually maybe the base one. Yeah. White picket fence. Just the posts, though. The rest of it, in here. Really? It's like some things they've organised and redone, but they haven't gone through everything and reorganised everything in quite the way that I think perhaps they should. I mean, I don't normally have these, and I could use them. You know what? I'm going to use them for that reason. Question is, which side do we put the staircase on? That works for now. Well, I can always change it later, can't I? Why don't we put the staircase in? That might not be a terrible idea. The stairs, what we got? We need something wooden, don't we? And probably not quite as nice as that. We've got a strong contender there, I think. There's also that. That's gonna work. That's hideous. And about as medieval as my grandchildren. Yep, I think we have a winner. Though the snapping ain't the winner, that's for sure. Now, I'm pretty freaking sure that was not sunk in the way I need it to. So I've got an idea that is going to go full Fallout 4, maybe. Possibly. I've just had another idea that might screw with that idea, though. Replacement. Replacement would let me place it under the ground, logically, wouldn't it? But no. Come on, you shitty fuckwit. Yeah, it was not quite what I had in mind because they changed the fucking button. Bastard. On the other hand, not be untenable. No, I thought maybe switching it to free and then moving it might work, but it's not going to do it. Still, that's better than it was. Still feels like it needs something wedging underneath the back of it now, but it's probably as good as it can get. A little bit of placement under the ground would be nice. Although it does present you with the difficulty of getting it back out of the ground if you lose stuff under there. So there is that. I suppose. PTS, as usual, is not quite as great on the old FPS as it could be. Fairly standard, though. So column options. Look at the walls a minute here. No, there's an option that's going to do what I want there. Basically what I've got is shit. I'd really like angled posts that I can use to support this thing, but think about this and see what's going on there. Columns. Nah. None of that does what I need. Is there anything that might be improvisable in that way? Fences. Nah, not really. Might be something in the decorations, maybe. Bed seating shelves. Surfaces. No. I'll be here all day trying to figure this one out. Really need something that's on an angle that I might be able to improvise with. The best thing I've actually thought of is this. Ooh, it's in wall ramps. Where the fuck were those? Haunted, maybe? Nope. Novelties, signs, letters, wall. Accents. Bloody weird, but you never know. It's Bethesda, everything's bloody weird. There were wall-mounted walkways, but I don't know where the fuck they might be now. Structure, maybe? Prefab stuff right now. Yeah, some of those icons need a bit of work. Nope. No. So, where the feck might they have stashed? This could take fucking forever at the same time. Generators, lights, no. Utility, player benefits, nah. Engine machines, shelves, surely not. No. I want to find those wall-mounted, basically these, but they snap to a wall instead of being a staircase. Ramps. Ah. Here we are, got them, floors. Now then. So this is necessarily genius, yeah, but it'd work a lot better if I wasn't on well, I'd bust something then, I haven't, but see where I'm going with this? My complete lack of anything remotely resembling logic. Any better? It's the same. Easier to place and then adjust after the fact. He says, theory. Alright, and that works. Get me old Fallout 4 brain on the go here with some of the creative thinking and using things for things that they were never designed to be used for. Kind of mentality, isn't it? There we go. That looks sort of like it's a bit more supported now, isn't it? Yeah, you're going to need a lot of time and a lot of patience, I think, to get the hang of this. At least I feel like I'm going to, anyway. So, what I'm thinking is... Use those, maybe? Use the flat one? Maybe? Might work. Did a bit weird, wouldn't it? Yeah, I think I could possibly deal with this idea. Maybe. You can drive me a little bit batshit crazy, I have no doubt. Roll. There you are. Me old mucker, me old matey. Underbra. Now. Floors. Got some ordery ones there. Not horrifically exciting. Oh dear, that's not. It's not going to work, is it? How's that? That's better. Grab that one as well. Ooh, definitely not that far. Yeah, that works, that works. It pretends to, anyway. Cool. Now, I want to go walls. I want these, but are these gonna do what I want, or are they not? Yeah, I think they might. Tend to anyway, mightn't they? Right then. Floors. To these. Yeah, the half ones. That's a bit. There we go. Put 2 door arches back to back to make hallways, and yeah, I've been doing this for many, many years, you know. It's the same thing that was going on, well, basically the same principle that we could do before. But I'm not worrying about that yet, I'm just thinking structure. Mostly. In theory. One thing that does trouble me a little bit. Suspect. I'd like to put a room up here. I think. Would I? You know what, I may not put a room up there. I don't know. I'm thinking of it like shape and form and things at this point. I'm still going to need some BS sticking to it to make it a bit more interesting, isn't it? Figure that out later. If I stick an entire room up there, probably gonna look kind of shit. So what I might do instead is a slight variation on my idea. Should be better. Now I'm gonna want some fences. What do we got? I'm liking the idea of at least a degree of consistency. It's a gate, which should be in with the fucking fences, let's be honest. And then off. So it's not going to snap, that's fine. Because I can work with that. Music weirdly reminded me of The Witcher just for a second there. Note and the chord and the possibly the instrument as well. Something did anyway. Triggered the dim reaches of my brain. Do you know what? I might do this one. Might be a bit of a basic bish on this one. I think the results will be slightly more desirable. I didn't really think you were going to snap, and it's alright, because I've got a better idea. I'll free place you, and then you'll look better. I do this, won't you? Speaking of, let's use the free placement. Make that a little bit lower down. That's a bit more interesting, isn't it? Now, I need something to board that up with. And I really do want to board it, I think. So... I could fence it. There might be something in here that meets my mindset. Probably not. That's the one I want. Arcades, maybe? Not those ones. Iconic, but not what I want. No, no. No, so you're not going to meet my needs. It's resources. Utility, furniture, maybe. Decorations. Things I think might be the play. Maybe. Nah. You need. Ideally. Really? Weird thing to include and not give us in the PTS. It's just a bit odd. These might be a good bet. Right, those are a pretty good fit. Yeah, it works for me. I think, sort of, maybe. Bit of a ramshackle improvised vibe, but it's kind of what we're going for. Okay, good to know. Learnt a little something there regarding the controls, which is not a bad thing either. And stairs. Something kind of ladder-like, really. Which this kind of is, but it's also kind of terrible. Yeah, I'm not using that. I hate that bloody thing. It's bloody awful as well. No, nothing in there I like. Hey, what's going on? You see, these are under stairs, but then the rest of the set is God knows where, presumably under the defences tab somewhere. They definitely need to go back through and do another pass on some of this stuff. There's definitely some weird organisational choices in here. Weird, I mean absolutely bananas. Right, so if I went back to this one that I don't like, we have the same issue there. Yeah, it's going to clip across the door. They're not quite as much, but I can sort of maybe kind of fix that. He says, using that one. Unless I were to go for these, which would also do something similar. I do like those, but that's not what I'm going to go for, I think. Stick with the plan. One thing I don't feel has changed with this is that sometimes placing and then moving is just going to be so much easier because the game knows what it's working with then. Whereas when you try to place and fine-tune something you've not yet placed down, the game doesn't really seem to know whether it's coming or going sometimes. This has always been the way. There we go. I need a fence on the back of that, otherwise I'm going to go right off the end. Use this one again, because I think that's going to be the best bet. There we go. Don't know what I'm going to use this for yet, but it's a space, isn't it? Yeah, good set of boards, those. Those signs. So that's a bit different. that. So I'm going to stick some crap up the top there. That might be vaguely interesting. I feel like I need something on this front corner, though. No, maybe something on ground level. Rubs around it, maybe. This is really going to solve my particular issue, but it might solve something. And it helps, doesn't it? I need something up there to make that corner look a bit more interesting, but do you think maybe these are not the worst idea of additional supports in the corner? So don't fuck it up, make sure have them sticking all the way through the inside, and I think this one's probably going to want the full set, isn't it? Maybe not. Maybe not. Before I go any further, I'm going to make sure these aren't clipping through upstairs. Good enough. New items. Yeah, relaxed building rules, they're calling it. That sticks up too far. Doesn't. Technically does, but I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just that one corner. That's actually a decent rate of success, if I do say so myself. What's about now? It's kind of hard to tell. Yeah, I have mixed feelings on the subject, to be honest. I know there was discussions between the developers that had varying positions on whether or not greater flexibility should be allowed in the building system or not, whether or not that's a good thing. I'm still not convinced. Right. The free and collide options are new in general. There was a certain amount of ability to toggle between sort of something. With some things you could toggle snapping on and off, handful of items. But this completely allows you to select the intensity of the intensity of the snapping. So collision turns off snapping, but your collision is still a thing. Although collision in general has been reduced, so everything is a lot more squishy, malleable, like that. And free just lets you do whatever the F you want, really, which is always a mixed blessing. Yes, it's not a specifically PC thing though. This will be coming to all platforms. It's just on the PTS at the moment. Means it's only available on PC right now, and then not in the real game either, because we're not. I'm effectively playing an entirely separate second installation of the game for the public test server. I have 2 copies of 76 installed on my computer, basically. Ah, you bastards. You! I hate that fucking... Can't move it minute distances, you've got to move at big distances. Otherwise, it just drops back thing. That'll do. I'm not fucking around with that. I'll stick a bush in front of it. Fuck it, I'll hide it with a shrub. Doesn't sound very professional, but when you do this all bloody day long for 8 years, you start to learn the value of whether or not it's worth fucking with these things. Which the answer is usually nay, it is not. That's enough. There we go. That looks a bit better, I think. There's only something going on this side. We need half-size walls, which we don't have. It also makes half of this free placement thing and the ability to clip things into each other significantly less valuable because, well, half-size walls, you've got nothing to fill gaps with that are inevitably going to be created. And the loose boards and stuff that we used to have in Fallout 4, admittedly modded in. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's bad so far. I think they're trying to make it do something it was never intended or designed to do, and that's an uphill struggle. It's also very unfamiliar and new, or like some weird hybrid of unfamiliar and familiar at the same time. Some kind of fence that's not going to do my melanin. What have we got here? Yeah. Yeah, that could work. How does that look? Oh, you know what? In a ramshackle kind of a way. Convinced, but I'm not. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. Square one over here, though. We're going to have to use Old Faithful. Yeah, actually, I don't do it. I could use something else. Yeah, it kind of works. I'm going to change this front corner up, but I don't know how. I'd like to make it an interesting shape or something like that, but the pieces just aren't there to do it with in a way that's going to look decent. It's just going to look shite. Yeah, collision especially is supposed to mean things don't snap together, but you can't push them inside each other. So they're still solid objects, but you can place them wherever you want. And free is supposed to allow intersection. So in theory, he says, see if I can demonstrate this. Where are the walls gone? No, my brain's not processing. There we go. Here's R4, that'll do. Yeah, and theoretically, snapping should just snap and behave like it always did. Kind of does. Although I can still place it in midair because they've reduced the restrictions. Put it on collision mode. Now it won't snap to things. Theoretically, I shouldn't be able to do this with it. Except that I absolutely can do this with it, because that makes no sense, but you can. And then free placement, you can do that even more easily in more places, but sometimes it gets a bit weird about it as well. Because, of course, it does. So yeah, that's the general idea. Like, free placement should just go straight through whatever. But it won't always, look. Yeah, weirdly, that's not what I had in mind. If I go to collision, that's behaving more or less like it should do, but I'd still stick it right inside and the tree, and it shouldn't be able to do that. But you can see it sort of jumping up like that. The way it's snapping as I move it behind the staircase. That's because the collision's on. With free, it doesn't do that. See? Sort of the difference. But it's not exact by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, it's going to be case by case, I think, with most of this stuff. Still need to do something with this bloody corner. So we could kind of try and ram something on there to make it a different, more interesting shape, but I don't know that it's actually going to work. I think I could do. Yes, this one in particular definitely needs more organisation. I mean, a whole bunch of it still does, but it's better. Just, it's not quite there yet. Why are the two greenhouses nowhere near each other? They should just be separate tabs right next to each other. Surely. Greenhouse roof. There you are. Oop, no. Okay. Works. Sort of. And now I'm going to need some kind of walls. You have the same ones? Yeah, probably just for the sake of picking it up for now. You'll do. Now then, the question is, are you going to snap the way you're meant to snap? Or are you going to be a right little arsehole about it? No, actually that went alright. These things always could be pain in the arse in the past. That was surprisingly okay. Slightly more interesting shape than it was. Slight adjustment. It should stay floating now. Yeah, good, it does. I want to ride my bicycle. No, wait, that was Freddie Mercury, wasn't it? Anyway, to do that. That's a cool thing. I didn't think that was going to snap. Shouldn't have done because it was across the join, but it snapped with the walls when I cycled through the snapping options, and then it found its place, which is quite cool. Sometimes you sort of make it rethink and reprocess where things are sometimes and make the snapping work better. Or better than you expect it to, which is nice. And one bit further. can't really look out at that, which is kind of sucky. Maybe a little more interesting. Maybe I changed the glass roof out for a matching one. Leave that as is for a minute and I'll ponder it. I was thinking about putting an extra like balcony around here, but there's not really a way to do it that's going to satisfy me. Yeah, there is. I'm going to have to do it because otherwise it's just not going to... Still not three-dimensional enough. That's the problem. Use these ones, I think. I think replacement might be the play here. Yeah, we're doing. Well, yeah, being able to free build's nice, but to be honest, I didn't feel overly restricted in Fallout 4 on it. Like, if you know your glitches, you can do whatever you want anyway. Just because you can do a thing doesn't necessarily mean it's going to look good if you do the thing. Eternal struggle and all that. Replacement it is. That's not right. Probably isn't right because things don't meet up. I mean, it's still not bloody right either, but anyway. Cool. And I need some kind of fences. Same ones, different ones. I think I'll stick with the same for a moment. Because also they have metal on them and it kind of breaks up the uniformity a little bit in some ways. Actually, if I dip it down a little. Works. Yeah, I'm gonna say that like there's no games that I've played that I can think of anyway where just sort of free placement is really a thing. Everything like snaps together one way or another. Fallout system, even though we have to kind of break it to do it in some ways, ended up being way more flexible than many of them in its own way. I think it was... I've played a lot of different survival building crafting games over the years, and none of them have the same satisfaction in their building system that Fallout has, even with it being a glitchy buggy mess. There's just nothing out there that is as good. It's a weird thing to say about the glitchy buggy mess, but it's true nonetheless. Shrouded. Yeah, I'd have to have a look more into the building. I've not done that in a while. Actually, yeah, Enshrouded's building is, now that I think on it, way more flexible than most. I think, if I remember rightly, it took a lot of inspiration from Minecraft in that regard. Voxel-based thing and stuff. So that's possibly another contender for similar description. terms of its flexibility. Can I get that low enough? I mean, technically, probably not. Might hide it with a bush. Can we need something over here, aren't we? There, I think, on the end. Nice. Yeah, you can do a lot with this, but by God, it ain't efficient compared to the existing system. Oof. Well, it's definitely a more interesting shape than the box we started out with, so I think I can more or less live with that. So, let's see. I think... not floors, walls. Good lord, they need to tidy this up. I think. Something that looks the same on both sides, really. Will do the job as an internal wall. Tell you what, I know what might do it. Is that quite the same? It's not quite the same. But it's close enough. It's got the right kind of vibe, hasn't it? On the other hand, there's one other option. Should looked at these yet. No. Didn't really think so, but that's fine. Where are you? Casino stuff. I've never seen any of this before either. It's probably good because it's another set I didn't buy, I suspect. Stone, actually, that's stupid. These are probably going to be the best if I don't wallpaper them. So I really want this on collision, don't I? Brief there. Line up. Do I want to do that, or do I? I might get a little creative here. Of course I can. Some such. Alright, clipping through the tree. Visibly. Is that going to look good, or is that going to look shit? I want a kind of bedroom down the end here, I'm thinking. Mostly crafting at this end, sort of living room, bedroom space down there. I'd like to kind of partition off. That wall is just way too big and chunky, so I'm not happy with that. So there's one thing I need to check. There's no stored tab at the minute, I don't believe. Storage. Not stored. So the stuff you store is not actually storing at the moment. It's just disappearing. That's interesting. As you see, the budget at the top says 0% stored. That's interesting. There you go. That's what the options button does. It gives me a whole load of stuff I haven't got at the moment. Filters, basically. Green expanding info card. Interesting. Basically, yeah, you can filter certain things. What we need is a search option, so you can type in. You can filter things. But yeah, they haven't got that working yet. Or haven't got it included yet, anyway, for whatever reason. Yeah, I know what I'm going to do. I'm not happy with that wall. It's way too large and chunky. Sounds like it could be a Weird Al song. That's lined up. It's close anyway. But extra space on the inside is probably not a terrible idea. Yes. Right. This is $1 million question. Ah, good, it will. Basically going to do the doorway double siding glitch, but without actually doing the double siding thing. Same principle, but simplified and a bit neater and tight. There we go. So it kind of shields off what will be the bedroom area there. Hopefully when I decorate this thing, it'll end up looking decently cool. I hope, maybe. I'm not happy with this front corner. Not happy at all. Without half walls, I'm kind of effed on interesting ideas. Bookcase as a partition. Could do. Double-sided walls, yeah, internal walls that can be double-sided without having to screw around would be nice. Maybe at some point in the future. Yo, it's warm in here. If I were to make this like a hangout area, grill it like with barbecue or something like that, cooking station of some kind on here. Yeah, I'm thinking cooking station, hangout space out here. Most of the crafting area in here. And bed and sort of maybe a bit of lounge space around here, maybe. Possibly more crafting up here, maybe. It's kind of where my brain's going at the moment. Now the replace button is there. It's there. It doesn't work at the moment though. At all. I don't know if that's on the known bugs list actually. Let's have a look, shall we? I ponder this. Thursday, 76. Building public test server. History category, new tab, recent, blueprinted, stored, filter options coming later. It's a really not helpful list. Well, mind you, it's not when you can get in the game. It probably is if you can't. Place on destroyed objects. Blueprint budget bar missing. Oh, I see. The budget bar for... Oh, no, that's just specifically for blueprints. Okay, never mind. Claims error message stays on screen after issues are solved. Some icons missing. Jumping bug. Jumping may be temporarily disabled after switching from modified mode if last selected item supports wire attachments. Toggling or exiting workshop mode restores, and the cannery doesn't work at the moment. So, yeah, that's not on there then. Forgot what the fuck we were looking for, but it's not there anymore. Oh, the replace button. Not right neatly when I'm trying. Writing a full bloody stretch is no chance. Hopefully I can read that later. Brahmin on the roof. Yeah, I could put Brahmin on the roof. It's one other reason why I tend to do my videos in the way I do and for builds. Plan, test build, tear it down, build, and then edit. It's because I do a lot of walking around in circles staring at stuff while I figure out what the hell I'm going to do. Which, obviously you guys now get to watch me staring at an empty building while I'm thinking. Because I'm visualising, but you can't see that. Pavilion kit, well, sort of underneath the whole thing to support it. Won't be tall enough down here. I mean, it could be made to be tall enough, but I think it'll still look weird and not great. Still wondering whether or not this divider is right, though. It's not quite where I want it, I know that. Sticking out. It's a bit more snug. That's better. That looks neater. Okay, now once I start getting furniture in, I think we'll off the bat one. I'm not going to wallpaper it because that would be weird in a treehouse, I feel. Unless there happens to be some uncannily good wallpaper, but I don't suppose there's going to be. No, that's not right. I think I own most of the wallpapers, though not all of them. I'm already seeing some that I don't. There's a few that I don't own because I really don't want them. Interesting. I'm not using it, but I've never seen that one before. It's the presidential one that's kind of hideous. Some terrible ones that I deliberately didn't pick up because they were terrible. I do have that one. When they're meant to look terrible, that's kind of the point, but... Right. So, let's see how we get on with some decorating, shall we? I want furniture, decorations, rocks. There we go. What we got here? Interesting setup. They're good, but they're not right. Now we're talking. Why would these not be in the same category as the bear? Like, shit like this just makes no sense. They really do need to go through and do it again. Like, it's a solid start with the reorganisation. They do need at least a couple of big passes over, like, putting stuff in more sensible places and tidying a little bit more, I think. What was I looking for? I've lost it now. Yeah, it does suggest that I ever had it, whatever it is. It's probably the badger, isn't it? No idea what my obsession with badgers is, by the way. Absolutely no idea at all. Well, if you're going to be obsessed with anything. Then... add plants to the tree trunk? Possibly. Yeah, it did look rather infected, that wallpaper. See a lot of ball cubes. Yeah, I think we'll see a lot more floating camps. It's something to be very aware of if you fast travel into somebody's camp come September, which is when the update's currently scheduled for, first Tuesday in September, until we get information to the contrary anyway. Yeah, one thing you should probably be aware of if you're going to bounce to people's vendors and stuff, do it in power armor, just in case there was some butthole that's designed a flying camp that you're going to spawn into up in the air and just plummet to your death every time. Because somebody's going to do it on purpose. Some dumbass is going to do it by accident. But yeah, be prepared for this, is all I'm saying. Right, crafting. Let's get crafty. What armor benches have we got? Have I got one that I don't actually own and then I can F around with it? I feel like I don't own that one. Do I own that one? I don't own this one. We'll use that one because I haven't got it. That does beg a certain question though, doesn't it, actually? Ooh, that's the cannery, is it? Okay. Interesting. Allegedly can't be placed, but... okay. Conceded. I had a thing in the back of my mind somewhere and it's wandered off. Ooh, that's nice. Is that on the current scoreboard? I don't reckon I've seen that somewhere, but I can't think where. Enclave's weapons workbench. I like that. That's cool as well. I haven't seen that before either. Don't know where. Oh, my headphones are going to die. I'm kind of wondering. Let's do this as a start, shall we? So, nurture, surfaces. See what we got. Back now. bar, that's hideous. Cornucopia still looks fucking weird. It's healthy, it's not right, and it's not natural. Oh dear, we've got some green ones. I've seen that in Fallout 4 mods on a few occasions. Actually, I think I've seen it in 76 once or twice, long ago. The model didn't get updated. Yeah, again, this could be better organised. For example, I feel there's at least one table that should be in there, the bloody isn't. Let's try this. It's a lot of faffing for a small experiment. Do we like for this one? A workbench. Right, so right now, the prospect of bypassing the merge glitch doesn't seem to be a thing. Oh, that didn't go according to plan. It's like Fallout 4. But, if you do it that way, it works. You need a very sensitive mouse. To get it precisely accurate. This table is not the best option, but you can do it. And my headphones have just died, so let's just sort that out. Un moment. You know what, it's warm enough tonight that my ears are sweaty. There's some information I'm sure you get to live without. You need to turn them on before that works. Next blessing. Yes. £18, yeah. It's this room gets warm in the evening anyway, and then it's not a wise move, but I'm going to use another one anyway. Yeah, it gets warm in the evening because the sun hits the window, and then I've got my computer under my desk, obviously, and that's churning out heat, plus lights and what have you. Right. Right. So, let's see what I'm going to do. I'm not going to try and do all of this right now. I might do some more of it on my own time. Which probably means Monday, because I won't do it on my own time. I'll do it on my not my own time, effectively. Work hours, such as they are. I thought that felt weird. Right, so cooking station. Right. Yeah, I'm not going to find a fridge. Ooh, that's cool. Services? Yeah, apparently. Some kind of utility, you'd think, wouldn't you? Apparently not. Appliances. Okay, that kind of makes sense. That is, of course, assuming fridges are here. Not electronics, are they? Because that would be freaking weird. What the fuck's this? Oh, speaker. Nope, they're not in there. Yeah, humidity does not help, no, that's for sure. Additional storage? Okay. Well, that's bloody weird. Weirdly in food, is it? These bloody things are still in food. Makes no sense either. Because producers. It would be stupid for them being producers, but I can't find them anywhere else either right now, so... Benefits? No. Services. You'd think, but no. No, they are not. That's an accordion. That's instruments. It's possible I'm just scrolling right past them. Found them. They're in furniture. So they're in furniture. Appliances. Appliances section under furniture. Okay, then that's not the worst thing. What the fuck is that? And will it fit in the corner? Yes, it will. Wonderful. But I don't know if I want it though. PTS Vault-Tote fridge that probably won't fit in the corner. Congratulations, weird thing, you've won. But I didn't affect your fit. Found it in the end. Love resting on your fridge. Yeah, exactly. I mean, utility you'd think, wouldn't you? Appliances does make sense. Kind of. Yeah, I think to be fair, it is an appliance, so... It's also a utility item, so... Most of the other appliances are basically non-functional, aren't they? Oh, wrong button. Some kind of appropriate table for out here. Nah, it's not quite the vibe I'm looking for. These two, as the drown variants, stick them together. I'm going to be harping on about this. It's a bit late for warning on that one, really. I have been. I think it's probably more appropriate than I will be at this point. But there's good reason to harp on about it. Makes no bloody sense, does it? Yeah, there's all that weird stuff that I also was looking... I was looking for this before, but it is kind of in the same place it always was, actually. Doesn't really make much sense. Do I want that one instead? Would that be better? Yeah, it's better. Wall a little bit, you won't be able to tell, and it'll probably look a bit better. Cool. What else are we gonna do? I think we're gonna go for seating. Interesting. No. Although. No. I know what I want. I've got no bloody clue where it might be now, though. That's cool. Some interesting thrones in there. And some things that probably don't belong in amongst the thrones. Circle barrel drum. It's just there as random... It's not a seat, though. Why is it in... It's an instrument, but it's also listed in seating. Metal drums. Weird. But if it's not an instrument, because it's just a visual version, that's fine. Still not a seat. Yeah, there's some bloody weird stuff going on here. I've forgotten what I was looking for. That's what I was looking for. So I forgot what I'm looking for. Unfortunately, I just clocked it then. That's what I want. Sleeping ovens later. I wouldn't recommend that. Likely to be a bit hazardous to one's health, sleeping in ovens. We've had some extra bits of decor out there later. Utility. That was crafting again? Resources, okay. Thinking... Here's my chemistry benches. There they are. Oh, my chemistry benches, rather. That might work. Tinker's bench, I think, is probably the next one. I think I remember seeing that, actually. an interesting choice, that's for sure. What I want to do, I'm going to chop that over there for now. And I'm going to look for a weapons workbench. I do like that one, but it's not the one I'm going for. I'm going to go for this one because I wouldn't go for that one. Actually, it's quite cool. Sinks into the wall a bit more than it probably should, even in snapping mode. Better. Yeah, I'd like to see some new variations on the perk card machine as well. God knows when though, but you know. A wall-mounted version that's just that yellow box alone would be a good start. Or about the size of it, you know, a little wall-mounted version. Whew. Maybe a little tweet. So I've got weapons, armor I go on now. Now, we've been toying with this one, so let's use the one I've yet to use. The one I don't own. Because I can, while we've got the PTS up. Weapons, armor, ammo, cams... Okay, oop, no, wait. Shoehorn that in probably around about there. Okay, I know what I need to do. I need storage. Additional storage. Tools would look good, I think. Well, makes sense, anyway. Definitely not quite got the feel of these controls yet, have I? That one will fit. Yep, use your thumb. There we go, that looks alright. Evening as I, how's it going? While we're on the subject of storage, I could put a stash box in here, couldn't I? Somewhere it'll fit. That kind of works. Dear God. I've got several ideas. Let's have a look at... Oh, no. Right. I saw radios in here somewhere, but electronics, there we go. Not putting that one in, it'll drive me batshit insane. I'm already more than halfway there. Yeah. Sense to me. 6 wall decor and lights and stuff in, but I thought I put that somewhere. I didn't think I put it there, but apparently it would suggest. How can I put this? Fuck you. Excuse me? I want you to up there, I'd have put you up there. Especially as it's an option now. Going in berserky, right? Oh, dear me. Getting sweaty. Still, that's functional. Not the point. Is it functional? That was kind of what we were trying to figure out, wasn't it? Find out if the problem here is... It's not that I'm getting annoyed, I'm just bloody ticked off, that's all. Thank you. Say cool again, but... don't. Right. Much better. Could probably put that back if I wanted to, but to be honest, actually, I think it's better off there. So, I think I might need a light of some description in that corner. Something tall and skinny, anyway. Boom. Well, logically, I'd stick a display on the back there and have a weapon on the back of the weapon bench. And other stuff on the walls and things. Up for now. That's the wrong button, that's the right button. I'm getting the hang of this, bit by bit. The new menu. Finding stuff in it and things. As I say, it needs some work, but it is an improvement, or it will be when I get the hang of it. Obviously that bit is part of the course, really, isn't it? Your forward power armor station. Oh, that's a little too alien. I do kind of like it, but I'm not sure about the light. No, I don't like that. No. Yeah, I'm not sure about this either, but we're going ramshackle. Skulls are a bit much, but... So, now we just need a brewing station, don't we? Let's be one of the smaller ones. I do like the Nuka-Cola one. Don't actually own it, but I do like it. What about... have to stick with this, aren't we? Okay. Fancy, but it'll work. Is that rotate it? With a play, actually, mightn't it? Maybe. Now, this, as much as I like the look of it, really just doesn't match, so... There's a time and a place for things to match, there's a time and a place for them not to. This is definitely went in favour. I'm curious if I want to do something like that. I have something that might possibly resemble an idea. Too far back there. There we go. Here's another fine example of exactly why I don't generally include the decoration in my camp builds. To be honest, it's a lot of this. Now, is there any of the clipping there that's overtly horrific? Only really that barrel, and that can be hidden. Next question is, well, not a brewing station look. What's your father's brother? Probably theoretically doable with the merge glitch as is, but hey, won't have to now, will we? Now it's just your imagination that's the limit. So I'm probably screwed, aren't I? Wrapped helically around an inclined plane. Need some sort of stash box. Probably something that looks suitable for crafting. Is middle-sized. And those. Yeah, I can go there. I've got some ideas for decoration here. Several ideas, in fact. Question is, where the bloody hell did I see them? I think I saw the barrels in seating and I was baffled by that, wasn't I? I did. Because they're here as instruments. What about... clutter, maybe? Oh, I'm pressing the wrong button, aren't I? That's what's going on there. That's what's utterly bamboozled me. Yes, they are here. I didn't know it. Yes. Whilst on the whole, I do think this is moving in the right direction. I do think there is a very strong argument for oh, here's another one. Going another really aggressive pass at tidying this up and putting stuff in a more sensible place. And where do we suppose dispensing barrels and stuff are going to be? Because I want one of them. Looking at entertainment right now, but... crockery? Maybe. There should be Xion and yeah, Xion barrels and Blue Ridge barrels and stuff like that that you can put drinks in and dispense from. That look great next to things like brewing stations. Holiday? I mean, God knows with Bethesda's logic, right? Ooh, that's cool. I think these might be on the current school board and I need to pick them up. I need to go back through that with a degree of aggression. There's the stuff that's coming in. Some of this might be sneakily revealing what's going to be on the next season as well. I bet some of it is. You know what the secret about logic is? Nobody actually knows what it is. Something that's completely logical, natural progression of thought to me, I have it on very good authority, is absolutely fucking insane to other people. And conversely, things that other people think are perfectly normal and logical, I think are absolutely fucking insane. So, you know. Here we are, displays apparently. I'm not quite sure what to display really, but okay. I kind of want to put a bench up here, but at the same time I think it might just be in the way. What I will need to do, he says, I've just had a really interesting idea that I have no idea if it's going to work or not. Column. Alright, so we're looking up there. Okay. Yeah, bottles of normal little bits of clutter like that are definitely something I am 1000% a fan of. Can you tell what it is yet? Oh, I hate myself and I'm going to go jump off a bridge for that particular horrible reference. Please forget I said that. On the other hand, it's going to be a cool idea. We're standing there horrifically... You know, I'm just going to go shower and bathe in a load of bleach. I'll tell you what I can't find though, it's the bloody thing I want. Shockingly, under the circumstances, let's be honest. Gotta be ceiling lights, right? Well... Okay, there's a bit more going on here than I anticipated. Though none of it seems to have what I'm looking for, so... Oh, I see, it keeps on going. Oh wait, I've already discovered that and still not found what I was looking for. Heck. I'm looking for the cage bulb lights, but can I find them? I mean, it would be weird, but... I don't think they count as wall lights, but... Then again, what the fuck do I know? Oh, this shit's weird, that's what I know. There you go. That kind of works, doesn't it? Would there be wall lights? Well, no, because they're ceiling lights, but they're there anyway, aren't they? It's the old scoreboards. I wholeheartedly agree with you there. I'm of the opinion they changed the wrong part of the seasons system. They kept scoreboards and changed the bloody challenges. In my humble... Yeah, that works. You can also run wires through objects without worrying about collision anymore, although it is worth noting that just because you can do it doesn't mean it's going to look good when you do. The eternal challenge. That'll do. That'll do. Let me out! Let me out! Let me out! There we go. Let there be lights. What's the idea of sorts? Oh, there's that can't jump bug. So... Hey, if it'll connect. That's not quite what I had in mind. Replace if in doubt. Of course. It doesn't just go straight back onto the object. When you switch out, you have to find it again. Not the biggest fan of that, I must say. Ouch. Let me just remind you, game, of all the fucks that I do not give about whether or not a thing is floating. Behold, I do not give them. You fucking prick. See? Was that really necessary? No, it wasn't. Dickhead. Catch you later, Noel. Yeah, I think we're coming towards a conclusion fairly soon. Beginning to get the idea of just what decoration does for a build right now. If you weren't already. Here we go. Now where the fuck were displays? Not there. Ah, storage. Well, that's one definition. I'm dying to get my hands on that fucking thing. Halloween, I'll work my arse off for it. Replacement apparently for this one. Right idea. Probably going to be it, actually. Yeah, that kind of works, doesn't it? Displays would be the dweller catcher. No, we found them earlier. They're not, I can kind of see where the storage logic goes because they connect to your stash box. So I kind of get that. I don't agree with it, but I do kind of understand it. Kind of. Anyway, what are we on? Oh, yeah, 10 o'clock. That'll do, I think. Right. Still not sure about this front corner. It's a bit weird. Not sure what happened here either. I didn't do it. Funny, because last time I built a tree house of sorts, it was actually on the trees over there. The next set over. I think I'll take you a picture from this angle as well. Right. That was interesting. Here's a big old note. So yeah, I'm going to leave this one about here, and I might well, on Monday, come back and add a load more bits and pieces to it and stuff. And then I think I might do a walkthrough of this and a conversation about the new building system on Monday, so you can have a look at something I built and my thoughts on the system as is. That's probably the best way of doing it, and then I can keep it to a reasonable length, because if I do it in the time of a walk through the actual build, then at least hopefully I might stay vaguely on topic. Maybe, possibly. Wouldn't count on it, but you never know. Let's see. What's the door piece with the vent above the frame? It's from the Brotherhood of Steel barracks set. The whole building set, the main building set I've used here is. So the vent's just part of that. But it was released around about the launch of the TV show. It matches up with some of the buildings that can be seen in that particular show. Which you should totally watch if you haven't, because it's freaking awesome. Anyway, yeah, that's interesting. I think, generally speaking, when we figure out what's where and stuff, this will be a big stride in the right direction. There's a few issues I've got written down there, but hopefully they'll fix some of those out. What have I got written down, just to remind myself? Yeah. Oh, my arm isn't supposed to bend in that angle. Right. You not want to see the state of my handwriting. Half floor carpets. That's not exactly new, but we need them. Yeah, the camp pieces tab in particular needs tidying up. It's got 200 odd objects in it at the moment on the PTS, and then sub-menus, and the menus really should be condensed down. Overlapping objects flickering. If you can allow us to push one object into another and bypass collision, you need to do something about that. Why on earth is a fireplace a roof? Yeah. The replace button just doesn't work at all at the moment. And they need another really, really quite aggressive organisation pass in general to kind of just make sure things are in more logical places. You know, musical instruments popping up under both chairs and somewhere else. They're in like two different places and things like that. It's a little bit weird. So yeah, hopefully that's something they can sort out. Crikey, I'm melting right now. Ugh. Moving and stuff starting to stick to me now. So yeah. Yeah, exactly. That said, I did say this as soon as I was told that this particular update was coming, which is like last May, and I have said it several times since, that this, I do not envy the poor sod who has to reorganise all of this stuff and go through the menu and put it into new categories and so on and so forth. That will have been, and will continue to be, a fairly Herculean task, and not one I would have wanted, to say the least. So yeah, I think they've done a decent job. There's some adjustments to be made. I do think it's a bit too big, the building menu, but it's not problematically so. It's not blocking my vision too much. I thought it might be at first, but I can manage that. Oh, use my big yawn. Yeah, not bad, I don't think. I have to scribble down some thoughts, maybe. Oh, it's definitely not one person. It's a handful of people, 2 or 3, I think. But it won't be many more than that, I don't think, either. Because there's at least some level of coherency to it. Part of the problem, and it's only part of it, but with the organisation, is its developer logic, not gamer logic. So, like I say, with the the displays being under the storage tab. Nobody in their right mind thinks of a wall display for their weapon or an armor stand, a mannequin that you put your outfits or whatever on as a display item like that as a storage option. You just don't. But they're under there because they connect to your storage options, your stash box and stuff like that. And that is game developer thinking, not gamer thinking. That's the other hat kicking in. I would be willing to bet that is why weird shit like this goes down. Because they just don't think the way the rest of us do. And why would they? They have to do weird fucking things to make games work. As do developers everywhere. It is insane. It's not a job I would want. So go. God, that is some tiny text. The snake, how it in? When will they be in the game? The current expected date is the first Tuesday in September. However, that is very, very much provisional because Bethesda haven't actually given us a date at all yet. So that would be Tuesday the 2nd of September, which would also be when the season will change over. Normally, that is the date you should be looking at as the first Tuesday of the month in March, June, September, December for the major updates. Everything else is as and when. That's when they aim for. That said, it does move around a bit depending on whether or not they need a little bit of extra time and whether or not holidays get in the way. That does kick in on occasion as well, stuff like that. Also, sometimes things like summer showcases can interfere with the summer one. So they do move around a little bit, but generally that's the rule of thumb. 76 players have to do certain things to make the game work. Yeah, this is true, but yeah, we can assume that the developers have to do things that are about 10 times as strange. There have been over the years a few examples where bugs have cropped up and the cause of a problem has no rational reason to be related to the actual problem itself. But it is. I can't think of a specific example right now. There was some couple of bits around camp building. One thing would just behave very, very strangely because they changed some completely unrelated item. You know, that was that whole thing with auto-completed challenges on seasons that kept coming up over and over and over again. I have been informed by those on the inside that every single time that came up, it was a different cause. And there was particularly one poor sod who had to deal with this every time, had to find the problem and fix it, and it was different pretty much every time. So, yeah, it was like the worst game of whack-a-mole I think a person has ever played with that problem. But yeah, and it was all manner of wild, unrelated things that for some reason were making your challenges just auto-complete. You know, they'd update and they'd be all completed and you couldn't get the score for them. Hasn't happened in a while, so touch wood, it'll stay that way. I think it happened once this year, maybe. Yeah, I don't envy that particular role. I wouldn't want to be dealing with that kind of crap. Anyway, thank you for hanging out tonight. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope that was an interesting little look at the PTS and the upcoming update. Yeah, I will probably do a few more bits and pieces between now and September on it. And I've got videos recently on the combat changes, so if you want to dive into those, then yeah, have a look. There's a couple of them. There's one that's combat related and weapons and stuff like that. There's another one on the perks and all that stuff. I've broken into 2 bits because it was already enough to get through. So yeah, if you haven't had a look at those, take a gander. If you want to catch up with other streams, stuff like that, then live tab for first episodes and playlists are another good place to look because I put all my separate games into playlists, so you can find that if you're into that. Massive playlist of camp builds if you want to check out that stuff. News videos are all over the place as well if you want those. There is enough Fallout content on this channel probably to keep you busy for a good couple of years if you really want it. So yeah, feel free to have a dig around. And yeah, we'll try and get back to a steady-ish schedule next week. We'll see what happens. But my plan is to finish this off and put a video together touring the finished version of that treehouse with chatter about my thoughts in more detail on the building system, or this update of it anyway, when I've done that. So it'll be a tour type thing rather than the building one, and I'll point people back in the direction of this one. I'll leave this stream live, or rather I'll put it live again tomorrow if you want to go back over it. It needs a bit of time to process, so I can't do it straight away, but yeah, we'll have it available, which I don't always do with part 2 onwards and that sort of thing of streams, because otherwise then you end up with really cluttered channel. So yeah, first one's up and then playlist after that. Anyway, you know where all the other buttons are if you're interested. Like, subs, notification bell, channel memberships on the blue join button if you want to support the channel. I appreciate very much. And if you like notifications, then I strongly recommend the social media links, because YouTube is not exactly what you'd call reliable with the notifications. So yeah, other than that, thanks for hanging out. It's been cool. I'm looking forward to seeing how this gets a little bit more polished over the next few months, because I'm sure it will. And getting to grips with the new system. I'm also looking forward to discussing it with a few people as well. It's going to be interesting to see how those conversations go. But yeah. Anyway, for now, have yourselves a good rest of your evening. Have a good rest of your weekend. Look after yourselves. Stay safe. And join us through the week. We've got loads of different bits and pieces on the streams and stuff, and videos and so on. So yeah, be there or be not the circular thing. So until then, have a good one. See you next time. Night, folks. Can't quite reach that. See you next time. Night.
Thank you.